Lately, I've been having this intense fear of myself or the people that I love dying. And while I looked it up and it seems to be normal after somebody that you love suddenly passes away, it is an incredibly scary emotion to handle. Because when you lose somebody all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're really starting to think about the fact that it really can be over at any second, any time. You can just do a mundane thing. I mean, my mom, she was literally in the kitchen having lunch and then she died. And so this fear that comes up when somebody that I love is going on a longer drive or going into an airplane, or in my case, and this is really random, but lately when I walk down or upstairs, I'm so scared that I'm going to slip and somehow hit my head, and then that's it. For you, it might be something completely else, something different. Maybe you have one specific thing that you're so incredibly scared of because you just think something bad is going to happen. But while this emotion may be natural after losing somebody like that, or after losing somebody in general, I also think that it is not healthy at all. And that I personally want to take the time to work through this, and that I already have worked through this for the past 2 weeks, because I've realized that this emotion just got way too strong and that I need to do something about it. So that's what I did. And now today in this video, I'm going to share with you guys the things that I've been using in order to stop this fear of death, because we don't want to live a life that is filled with us thinking that we're going to die, or that the people that we love so much are going to die. Because I really think that this creates an intense amount of stress within ourselves on a constant basis, and that is not healthy whatsoever. One of the first things that I would do is to talk to a loved one about it. Maybe that person that you are so worried about, or if it's yourself, just talk to any friend that you feel comfortable with talking to, because I find that it's a really scary thing to feel, and there's part of you that's a little bit embarrassed about it. For example, for me with the stairs, it sounds a little bit crazy when I talk about it, but thankfully I have people in my life that are completely non-judgmental, and that no matter what I would tell them, they would just try and find ways with me to make it better, or let's see where this is coming from, let's see what we can do against it. So talk to a loved one about it, because it's really not good to just keep that fear stuck inside you. As with most things in life, it's always better to get it out and to talk about it. Now, if you feel that your fear of death, dying yourself or somebody that you love dying, is getting way too strong, that it gives you panic attacks so that you can't sleep at night, then I can definitely recommend you to seek professional help, because you don't want this to be manifested too strongly in your mind. What we have to realize is that death is nothing to be scared of. Yes, losing somebody is so incredibly painful, but at the end of the day, every single one of us is going to die eventually. And on one side, that's a beautiful thing, because imagine living forever. Imagine never having a deadline. We would be so less motivated to live a beautiful life and to feel happy and to achieve our goals, because if we had time forever, then we can just do it whenever. I could do it next year, I could do it next decade, I can do it next century, because there's all the time in the world. But with this limited time, we are so much more motivated to make the best out of it. And what I've started doing, and this has really been helping me a lot, is that every time I get this fear of, what if this is going to happen? What if you're going to pass? What if a loved one of yours is going to pass early and then they won't be there to see all those beautiful things in life? Every time that comes into my mind, I say to myself, no, that is not true. We are going to live happily ever after. We're going to have long and beautiful lives. And maybe this won't be the case, but if you convince your mind that this is your reality, then that is going to make you feel so much calmer and so much more at ease. So every time this voice comes into your mind and tries to convince you that something bad is going to happen, that you may possibly die, that somebody close to you may die, you're going to tell that voice, no, I do not accept these thoughts, and instead I'm going to replace them with the thought that everything is going to be okay in the end. But it's really important that every time you have that thought, wipe it out and replace it with a beautiful one instead. I've been doing this for a week now, and I can tell you that it really has been working. It's such a little small change, but it's going to make the biggest difference. Because in the end, this voice that is trying to tell you to be scared of something that isn't even there yet is just trying to convince you of a fact that isn't even real. If you think about it, all we're doing is stressing about a possible future scenario that we have no control and no influence over. And generally speaking, stressing about something that we just cannot control or that is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen either way does not make any sense. And worst of all, like I mentioned in the beginning, constantly feeling this type of stress. And I know that especially with something like this, the stress is extremely intense, but it's so incredibly unhealthy. And what happens is that every time that you're stressed, even if it's just in your mind, you're sending all these signals to your body that is now preparing your body for a real stressful situation, right? So what happens when we're stressed a lot is that our breath shortens, our blood pressure goes up, and our heart rate increases, which are all factors to push more cortisol in your body, which is the stress hormone. And if you do this constantly for an extended period of time, this will affect your physical health. So instead, work on grieving and healing in a healthy way. And since I've been applying these little techniques and they have been working for me, I know that you can overcome this fear as well.